Hi, my name is Moses. I work at PCAT, and I'm an art assistant and a computer lab attendant.
Okay, so how long have you been working here?
I've worked here for 2 years, so since my freshman year over here at USF, fall 2013, I started till currently.
And how did you hear about PCAT?
Um, it was awarded to me through FWS, which is Federal Work Study Scholarship, and I was gonna start at a place called JA BizTown, which is like a small corporation for fifth graders to get together and do like a business day. But PCAT was given me instead because it like kind of loaned my schedule a little bit better. But yeah, heard about PCAT from the CLCE, which is the Center for Leadership and Civic Engagement.
Now, what's your major? Is it education?
No, my major is health sciences, which is like a broad science major. But I'm actually going in for a dual degree in bachelor's in social work, partly because of this job and partly because of my experiences within the social work program at the school.
Um, okay, let me ask you, is it difficult managing the kids here?
Um, it's not difficult managing the kids only because I'm one of the only male representatives in the program, so it's a little bit easier for me to hang out with the kids and more so they have like they understand that I'm an authority and so there's a lot of girls that work here or young women that work here, so they have a hard time listening to them because our program leader, Miss Rochelle, um, she's more of like the top authoritative figure. So when they see a male, um, they respond a little bit better to it than they would a normal female because they have so many that work here already. So
And how do you feel about the kids that come here?
they're definitely well, like the basic thing that I always say to everybody, like whenever someone asks me what I do, I say I work in a after school program for kids that come from a low income neighborhood. But the way the kids carry themselves, I wouldn't say they come from a low income neighborhood. They're just normal children to me. But what I see in the actual Sulphur Springs school, that's a little bit different. Like last year, it was a little bit rougher. I saw some kids come to the program without socks. Saw some kids come to the program with the same clothes, like once or twice in the week, same exact outfit. They just switched it out. But I mean, the parents are not so much worried about their children's socks. They're more worried about how much food is going to their stomach. So they just have to make sacrifices.
So, describe your job and describe a day at PCAT, kind of like what you
Okay.
would do.
Do you want like a rough day or like a normal day?
Just normal typical
Okay,
day.
okay, yeah. So, um, first we get here Tuesday through Friday. We get here around 1:30. We'll start up. We'll set everything up from snack to bathrooms to the name tags on the floor, so they can put out their backpacks right where it goes. And after we're done setting up, we go pick up the kids from Sulphur Springs Elementary, which is right across the corner. We go down the street, pick them up, come back. They go into the back classroom, which is where they all congregate to eat snack. And then from there, they have about 15, 20 minutes to eat snack, depending on how late we are that day. um, then we separate them into their groups. Some go to tutoring, some go to the art classroom, which is literacy through art. Some stay in the dance, which is in the back classroom, that's literacy through dance. And then they also have the interactive computer lab. And then after that, they have like a go home dismissal type of deal, and they get like a candy award reward at the end of the day if they haven't been marked down for anything behavior related.
If there's one thing that you could change about the program, how it is now, what would it be?
The only thing that I can actually suggest, because the program is actually very great and its structure academically perfect sound, the only thing I could suggest is a more of an outside playtime, maybe even academically interactive as well. Just because they come from school and they start around 7:30 or something like that in the morning, and they come to us at around 2. So they're already in school from that period, and then they stay here till 5, and it's all academic. I mean, they get to play and stuff, but they don't get to go outside and have fun like they see their older siblings do, and they're little 5-year-olds to 6-year-olds, so they're like very, they're pretty tired by the end of the day, so they're having a rough time, staying awake sometimes upstairs. So we have to try and like wake them up a little bit. But I mean, if they had some outside time, they'd be a little bit, the sun would wake them up a little bit, I guess. Yeah.
Right. So, although it can be exhausting, what's the rewarding part about this job for
Um,
you?
All right, so when I first started, it wasn't terrible, but it was hard because like I was a freshman and like classes and exams and all that kind of stuff, you know. But um, the only rewarding, not the only rewarding, the most rewarding part is when I come into the classroom and then they all turn around and they say, "Yo, Mr. Moses." I'm like, "Yo, what's up, guys? Like, how you doing?" Like, that's the best part. They know me by name, and then like the kids that I see from last year in the school now that are in first grade, they remember me too. They come up, give me hugs. It's great. Like, it's cool to see such a young little being like grow up into uh, I guess a more well mannered young man or woman. Like, even though they're only like 6 and 7, like it's still pretty cool to see because it just makes me think like, you know, from the movies you see a lot of people in low income neighborhoods, like a lot of them they don't make it. That same thing is out here. Sometimes their siblings, maybe 15, 14, they get shot or you know end up getting in trouble with the police, but like they're so bright at such a young age, it makes me feel like we can actually make an impact in their lives to make them not maybe go that way since they're exposed to it most of the time, you know. So it's kind of nice. Like this is like a home away from home for them. And they some kids like it. Sometimes they get fed up, but they all love us and we all love them. So it's pretty good.
What happens if the child doesn't want to be obedient or
Okay,
listen?
so there's two things. Well, two separate areas for that. If they're in school and we're trying to pick them up from school to bring them to PCAT, and they're not wanting to cooperate to come to PCAT, we're not like legally authorized to like handle them. So they have to walk themselves to the front office. We give them an ultimatum, like you can go to the front office and talk to one of the little dean people over there, or dean people, and they can call home or they can decide to come to PCAT. And we always say PCAT is like a new chance. It's a start over. There's always a new day at PCAT. So whatever baggage you have from class, whether you got on, they do the color system upside down. You know, for us it was like red was bad, but red is good for them. So if they got like a orange or something, it's down here instead, which makes no sense. But if they had a bad day at school, they have a new start at PCAT. You know, and then over here, if they're being disobedient, we give them a chance, and we used to have like vests, and we would take them on and off if they were being good or not. That didn't work too well, so we did away with that. Now we have little folders, behavior folders, and we write them down whatever mark they did. And if they're still getting out of hand after we write them down on their little behavior folder, we bring them to Miss Rochelle, and Miss Rochelle will take care of it from there, whether she calls home or talks to them, brings them back to the classroom, stuff like that. But yeah.
So, what is one thing that the students have taught you, or a student has taught you?
Okay. Um, we have some Spanish-speaking students here, and I come from a Spanish background. Well, Hispanic, to be correct about it. And it's interesting because sometimes they can't enunciate or pronounce the words properly because they have somewhat of a accent. Sometimes they have a lisp associated with their accent, so it's like, wow, it's really hard to understand you. But just because they can't really pronounce things well, you can't underestimate their intelligence. And it's really interesting to see how smart they actually are. Just all the kids in general, but just to hear the kids with the speech impediment issues, you think that they wouldn't catch it as much because they're having trouble speaking it, but they're actually still grasping it as well, which is really interesting because I don't know, I feel like it might hinder some of the grasping of the information, but yeah.
So, lastly, do you have any advice for people wanting to volunteer here? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would recommend coming to volunteer here. We're always looking for volunteers. We always need volunteers. It's my moments, you know. Hey, come on, guys, really, we need some volunteers. Because, like, the thing is, we need a long-term commitment from some of the students, and it's hard because we all have conflicting schedules. We all have jumping around exam dates, like, and some of our teachers, you know, they might say one day is this exam, and then on the syllabus it says a different day, and then they might change it all together. So, like, you know, professors are crazy. Like, we need your help because these kids are a handful. We have 40 of them, and like right now we only have about 15 because they're getting towards the end of the program. Some have finished already, some haven't, some need a little bit extra time. But we always need help, and I would recommend if you're coming in here, just prepare yourself for a lot of fun and a couple shocking scenes maybe, because some kids do throw temper tantrums. I mean, they're 5 years old, so you gotta give them some credit. Like I said, they're in school from 7 to basically 5 if they're part of BGAT, you know. So, yeah. So, just be prepared.
Thank you.
You're welcome.